my father started scouting in Sacramento, and then we moved to Riverside. Then we moved to Santa Barbara, and then we had a year in Beverly Hills when the opportunity came for him to be in Stanford, Palo Alto. When he got the job at Stanford, he was so thrilled because they were going to develop a new council. And we came up, I think, in 1939. And he had a committee right away to investigate old camps for young people. So, and Aunt Lucy, he had met right away when he got up there, and she was all for Boy Scout camp. She just enjoyed all of his enthusiasm. Lucy Stern apparently, I thought had a boy that died, but in reading her book, I'm not sure if she did have she had 2 children die early in her marriage, but she loved boys, and she helped boys. I remember her saying that she would have them over on Sunday night, and she had a big closet, and she would let the boys go in and get any of the products made by the Sterns, blue jeans, sweaters, pajamas, and the boys would have dinner and then could go in and pick a gift for themselves and take it home. Levi Strauss, the blue jean company. There were 2 brothers in San Francisco that were Levi Strauss, and I don't know Lucy's husband's name, but they moved down to Atherton, and the other brother stayed in San Francisco, and the other Stern in San Francisco gave Stern Grove to San Francisco. They also gave money for Bolt Hall in Cal, and they were very helpful to Cal University and the city, and Aunt Lucy was very helpful to Stanford boys. And that's why she asked, only one time did she say to my mother, why don't you take the girls in and have them pick something out? It was floor to ceiling with blue jeans, socks, pajamas, sweaters, in all sizes. It was like a mini store. I remember wanting a boy's V-neck sweater, and I think Aunt Lucy and my mother said, would you wear a boy's sweater? And I thought, would I? I would love to have it, but they steered me off to something else. But she was so kind. She felt the boys needed fresh clothes, and that was just part of her dinner party, was going to her mini store. She said I was her friend, and she took me into her den when the walls were just covered with important portraits of people, and her desk, and we sat there visiting one time, and she said that when young men, she helped them through Stanford, and when they got into business, they would save money and pay her back. And on that night, she would have the young man and his wife for dinner, and after dinner, she would hand the check back to him and say, this is for you to start your business or your home. I want you to have been trained to pay back what you owe as a lesson. And I thought that was so gracious of her to help young men get started in their business world. She used to ask me over for tea, and sometimes I thought I was busy with homework and couldn't go. And Mr. Diodny said, Elizabeth, you didn't go last time. She asked, I would like you to come this time. So I would go over and have tea on Sunday with her. And she would say, I have this library of books. I want you to take any book home to read. I have my boys bring books. I felt that she was particularly interested in what I was doing, and I was only in high school, but she liked young people. We lived within a block and a half of the office, so I would go see my dad and wanted to buy a bathing suit, and he said, okay, I'll give you 10 cents an hour to wash, what were those things called? Plastic or gelatin that the secretaries used to make copies. My father had a favorite trick. On Sunday, he would say to us, "Why don't you come down and stuff the envelopes so that I will be able to mail them out on Monday, and then we'll go get an ice cream." And we always worked till 10 or 11, and the ice cream parlors shut down. And I still am, he still owes me several ice cream bars. It was, I like stuffing. He was very organized on the counter, and I did enjoy I liked to do it, but I wanted the ice cream cone. I remember that weekend that we went up to see the camp. There were the two signs, and it seems to me that they were shaped like an arc. And you saw Singing Trails boys, and then the other arch led the girls to their camp area. I remember the name. I thought it was a pretty name. I remember my dad not knowing what he was going to find and finding everything in good shape. And I remember the kitchen and Mac, just unbelievable. The pots and pans that were left and in good condition. Everything was in good condition, as I recall. I mean, there might have been other things, but my dad was very happy about it. And as I said, everything that they checked was in beautiful condition. The camp was ready to go in, June, and they were just up there in May. The platforms for the tents were in good condition, and the equipment that the people left was in good condition, and most of all, the kitchen was beautifully equipped. And I can remember my dad hiring a Mac from one of the fraternities, and Mac had come up on that weekend too, and he said he couldn't imagine cooking in a better kitchen. So Mac became the scout cook. He did it. He's cooked for the fraternity boys in the winter and for Dad in the summer. At the end of the day, Frank played his harmonica, and Mac called out folk dancing, and we did folk dancing in the kitchen that first weekend, and until Frank said, "I have no more power to blow on my harmonica." It was a exciting weekend. We all had to go to camp and stay where the visitors stayed, and my mother brought every book from the library, and I brought up knitting and a knitting book and taught myself how to knit and made a sweater a summer because there was nothing else to do. I did get a job at the post office over in Huntington Lake, and Dad let me use a canoe, and I canoed over, helping the lady mistress sort mail, and it was fun because the lake is so calm in the early morning that canoeing over, I could canoe very fast. In the afternoon, the wind was up and the waves were higher, and it was hard coming back. And the postmistress was so happy I wanted to sort mail for her. And it's amazing the amount of mail that comes up to a resort. It was beautiful in the morning. Oh, it was so still, and that lake was so quiet that the canoeing was just simple, but coming home was different. The wind was up. My kids would die laughing, but there's also a canoeing song that we sang when we canoed that was an Indian song. And I still sing it when I'm with canoeing. I've been canoeing up with my kids. And I guess it doesn't have anything to do with the name of Old Jado, except one is an Indian canoeing song and one was the name of the camp.
What is the song that you sing?
I'll have to think about it.
Okay.
It's been a time since I've sung it with the kids.
That would be wonderful. So,
Killy, 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 wash, 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 kia, kia, kaya. Killy, 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 wash, 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 kia, kia, kaya. Hail, Stanford area. All hail, da-da-dee-da-dee-da-da. Anyway, that's a song. I'm sure they still sing it. I mean, you're supposed to canoe. You're supposed to keep rhythm. Anyway, my grandchildren have heard that 100 times. My dad had a rule that the visitors' camp, which was off to one side, that we were not to go past a certain path to interfere with what the Boy Scouts were doing. And I wanted to take, Mr. Youngerman was teaching bird study, and I wanted so badly, I'd had him for biology, and I wanted so badly to learn the bird calls, but I could not, of course, do that. And then they had leather, and I love to work with my hands, and I thought, why can't I, after they're all through, go up and work on a leather belt? But I was not allowed out of this perimeter. So I was confined unless we could go up for dinner. We could walk up the hill for dinner and breakfast, and I guess lunch. So we had 3 meals up there, but no learning. I wanted to learn things. I wanted to be a Boy Scout, and I never was.